Chapter 10. The Rogue Bludger. Since the disastrous episode of the Pixies, Professor Lockhart had not brought live creatures to class. Instead, he read passages from his books to them and sometimes reenacted some of the more dramatic bits. He usually picked Harry to help him with being forced to play a simple Transylvanian villager whom Lockhart had cured of a babbling curse, a yeti with a head cold, and a vampire who had been unable to eat anything except lettuce since Lockhart had dealt with him. Harry was halted to the front of the class that during the very next defense against the dark arts lesson, this time acting a werewolf. He hadn't had a very good reason for keeping Lockhart in a good mood. He would have refused to it. Nice, hello, said Harry. Exactly. And then, if you will believe it, I pounced like this, slammed him to the floor. This with one hand, and managed to hold him down with my other, and put my wand to his throat. I then screwed up my remaining string and performed the immensely complex homunculus charm. He let out a piteous moan. Go on, Harry. Harder than that. Good. The fear vanished. The fangs shrank. And he turned back into a man. Simple yet effective. Had another village will remember me forever as the hero who delivered them from the monthly terror of werewolf attacks. The bell rang and Lockhart got to his feet. Homework, composed a poem about my defeat on the Wagga Wagga werewolf. Signed copies of Magical Me to the author of the best one. The class began to leave. Harry returned to the back of the room where Ron and Hermione were waiting. Ready? Harry muttered. Wait till everyone is gone, said Hermione nervously. All right. She approached Lockhart's desk, a piece of paper clutched tightly in her hand. Harry and Ron right behind her. Professor Lockhart? Hermione stammered. I wanted to get this book out of the library, just for the background reading. She held out a piece of paper, her hand shaking slightly. The thing is, it's the restricted section of the library, so I need a teacher to sign for it. I'm sure it would help me understand what you said in Getting with Ghouls about slow-acting readings. Getting with Ghouls, said Lockhart, taking the note from Hermione and smiling widely at her. Possibly my very favorite book. You enjoyed it? Oh, yes, said Hermione eagerly. So clever the way you tapped that one last one with tea stainer. Well, I'm not sure no one mind me giving as the best student in the year a little extra help, said Lockhart warmly, as he pulled out an enormous peacock quill. Yeah, nice, isn't it? He said, misreading the revolted look on Ron's face. I usually save it for book signings. He crawled an enormous loopy signature on the note and handed it back to Hermione. So, Harry, said Lockhart, while Hermione folded the note with fumbling fingers and slipped it into her bag. Tomorrow is the first Quidditch match of the season, I believe. Gryffindor against Slytherin, it is not? I heard you're a useful player. I was a seeker too. I was asked to try for the national squad, but I prefer to dedicate my life to the eradication of the dark forces. Still, if ever you feel the need for a little private training, don't hesitate to ask. Always happy to pass on my expertise to the size-label praisers. Harry made an indistinct noise in his throat and then hurried off after Ron and Hermione. I don't believe it, he said as the three of them examined the signature of the note. He didn't even look at the book we wanted. That's because he's a brainless git, said Ron. But who cares? We've got what we needed. He's not a brainless git, said Hermione shrilly as the elf ran towards the library. Just because he said you were the best student of the year. They dropped their voices as they entered the muffled stillness of the library. Madame Prince, the librarian, was a thin, irritable woman who looked like an underfed vulture. Musty potent potions? She repeated suspiciously, trying to take the note from Hermione, but Hermione wouldn't let go. I was wondering if I could keep it, she said breathlessly. Oh, come on, said Ron, wrenching it from her grasp and thrusting it at Madame Prince. We'll get you another autograph. Lockhart will sign anything if it stands still long enough. Madame Prince held the note up to the light, as though to attempt to detect a forgery, but it passed the test. She stalked away between the lofty shelves and returned several minutes later, carrying a large and mouldy-looking book. Hermione put it carefully into her bag and left, trying not to walk too quickly or look too guilty. 5 minutes later, they were barricaded and Mourning Meadows out for the bathroom once again. Hermione had overridden Ron's objections by pointing out that if there was a last place, anyone in the rides might go. So they were guaranteed some privacy. Mourning Meadows was flying nosely in her sabbatical, but they were ignoring her, and she them. Hermione opened most patenti potions carefully, and the three of them bent over the damp spotted pages. It was clear from a glance why it belonged in the restrictions section. Some of the potions had effects almost too gruesome to think about, and there was some very unpleasant illustrations, which included a man who seemed to have been turned inside out, of which spouting several extra pairs of arms out of her head. "There it is," said Hermione excitedly, as she found the page had the Bludger's potion. It was decorated with drawings of people halfway through transforming into other people. Harry certainly hoped the artist had imaged these looks of intense pain on their faces. "This is the most complicated potion I've ever seen," said Hermione, as they scanned the recipe. "Glossing flies, leeches, fluxweed and knotgrass," she murmured, running her fingers down the list of ingredients. "Well, there isn't enough. They're in the student store cupboard. We can help ourselves." "Oh, well, look, powdered horn of a bighorn. I don't know what we're going to get that. Shredded skin of a boomslang. It will be tricky too. And of course, a bit of whoever we want to change into." "Excuse me?" said Ron sharply. "What do you mean, a bit of whoever we change it into? I'm drinking nothing with crab's toenails in it." Hermione continued as though she didn't hurt him. "Boy, we don't have to worry about that yet, though, because we add those bits last." Ron turned, speechless to Harry, who had another worry. "Do you realize how much we're going to have to steal, Hermione? Shattered skin of boomslang? That's definitely not in the student's cupboard. What are we going to do, break into Snape's private stores? I don't know if this is a good idea." Hermione shut the book with a snap. "Well, if you two are going to check it out, fine," she said. There were pink patches of her cheeks and her eyes went brighter than usual. "I don't want to break rules, you know. I think threatening Muggle-borns is far worse than brewing up a difficult potion. But if you don't want to find out if it's Malfoy, I'll go straight to Madame Prince now and hand the book back in." "I never thought I'd see the day when you'd be personating us to break rules," said Ron. "All right, we'll do it. But no toenails, okay?" "How long did it take to make anyway?" said Ron as Hermione, looking happy, opened the book again. "Well, as the fluxseed had got to be picked at the full moon, and the lace rings have got to be sewed for 21 days. And it would be ready in about a month, if we could get all the ingredients." "A month?" said Ron. "Malfoy could have attacked half the Muggle-borns in the school by then." But Hermione's eyes narrowed dangerously again, and he added swiftly, "But it's the best plan we've got, so full steam ahead, I say." However, while Hermione was checking when the coast was clear to them to leave the bathroom, Ron muttered to Harry, "It will be a lot less hassle if you can just knock Malfoy off his broom tomorrow." Harry woke early on Saturday morning and lay for a while thinking about the coming Quidditch match. He was nervous, mainly at the thought of the wood would say if Gryffindor lost, but also the idea of facing a team mounted on the fastest racing brooms gold could buy. He had never wanted to beat Slytherin so badly. After half an hour of lying there with his insides churning, he got up, dressed, and went down to breakfast early, where he found the rest of the Gryffindor team huddled at the long empty table, and looking uptight and not speaking much. As 11 o'clock approached, the whole school started to work its way down to the Quidditch stadium. It was a muggy sort of day with a hint of fun in the rain. Ron and Hermione came hurrying over to wish Harry good luck as he entered the changing rooms. The team pulled on the Scarlets, Gryffindor robes, then sat down to listen to Wood's usual pre-match pep talk. "Slytherin have better brooms than us."
Читаєте?
Треба відкрити.
Марта, дочитай, пару
Та
секунд.
я не можу! He began, no point denying it. "But we've got better people on our brooms. We've trained harder than they have. We've been flying in all weathers." "Too true," muttered George Weasley. "I haven't been properly dry since August, and we're going to make them.